Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. I hope you're all doing well today. Bring that up a little bit. Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. I hope you're all doing well today. That up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Sounds good. Sounds good. Today we're going to talk a little bit about alternative mating strategies. A little bit. Alternative mating strategies. What are you going to ask yourself? Male competition. We're going to do male competition today for a little while. I'll just kind of mumble on here for a little bit until people come in, and then once somebody comes in, I'll talk male competition. What is male competition? We can look all around the world, and everywhere you look, everywhere, everything you do, from sports to your job to mating, is male competition. It's all about one thing. It's all about access. Access, man. To what? You all know it. Say it. Come on, say it to the altar of the V. Say it. The access to the altar of the V. So lately someone made a video about me. I was going to make a video. I did make a video. I'll put it up and show you. And let me do that right now. And it was Charles from the Purple Pill Charles, Atari Charles. And I mumbled over it for a while, and I thought, well, maybe I'll make a response. And then I thought, nah, I don't really do those sort of things. I don't make response videos. And then I got mad, and I was like, okay, I'll do a response video to him. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do a response video, because in that is the male competition that we talk about. In that is that thing that that we do with each other. And I'll show you some clips from it just so you can be amused by it. Charles claims to have 144 Mensa. He's a member of Mensa, and he's a married guy. He's a married purple pillar, so he's married while irritating Mgtow. I think that's how you would label that. Married purple pillars, married while irritating Mgtow. And now let me do this here. We'll do blah. There's your entire screen, and then there's we'll do a clear plus on that. Boom, boom, and we'll bring up my editor, and then I'll start this thing, and then you'll be able to hear it. Oops, that didn't work. Nope, I don't want a title. Nope, I don't want a title. Nope, I don't want a title. Yeah, see how it's everything's just working great here. I have to take it off of that and go to import. Let's play this and see where we're at on this, and then there we go.
More recently, there was an individual who referred to the married men and, well, the purple pillars, because not all the purple pillars are married, but the married men, the soldiers of the apocalypse, whatever you want to call it, the horsemen of the apocalypse, and indicated that they have low IQs that would range around the 85 IQ. I don't know how someone could determine someone else's IQ by just watching videos. It's very interesting. You got to,
I'm starting to realize this guy is a moron, just like most purple pillars.
There's a compost pit.
He's got a compost pit.
And some of this has been, it's nice. It's been,
look at that.
Seeds have been planted here. That's some, and so on and so forth. But I'm not very academic. Well, then the school would recommend that you go see the grass here, which is kind of cool. It's wow. If I wanted to have an 85 IQ,
Yes.
If I drink all of this, but times it by 10, then I could temporarily go down to an 85 IQ. Oh, shit. I had to level out that ground. Almost took a header. hey, if you want to take a certain university course, well, you're going to need your matriculated courses. I was never told any of that. Actually ended up having to, do some adult basic upgrading to get my matriculated courses kind of thing. But anyways, I'm not saying I was very wise at that time, because I should have done pretty much got to do an IQ test if you want an accurate. So what I'd like to say, and so forth, but I'm not really, again, this is going to be about the IQ. I just want to give you some eye candy here. So anyways, where can we go? We can go over here, I guess.
Charles walks around in the backyard full of toys and pretty much should be condemned out of pure sadness. It's as boxed in as his life. He finally puts the camera up on a pole and talks for a while. Charles. Okay, we'll end that if you can see it. I don't know if you can even see this. That's right. See, project, let me save that project and go back down. So Charles is walking around his backyard for about, I don't know, 8 minutes or so, mumbling on about me and mumbling on about everything. And he says he has 144 IQ, and then and you know what that is? That's male competition. He there's something about me that brings on male competition. I don't know what it is, and I really don't want to do that. But in that making a response video thing, I'd be buying into it. The drama of Mgtow and everything like that. The drama of Mgtow happens, and then you're supposed to, as a man, I'm supposed to jump up and like, yeah, I'm gonna intellectually fight you, and we're gonna wrestle, like naked Romans and stuff like that. And I started thinking about what Mgtow is doing. I started thinking about alternate mating strategies. I think about male-to-male competition. It's not limited to males develop in the natural world. Males develop horns. Males develop weapons of stingers, horns. There's defense against predators. There's even a snail that goes and he has a horn and he sticks it through other the female sticks that horn through the male, and he has to wear it through his body. It pierces his body for the rest of his life. It's the California snail. If you live in California, maybe you get to see one crawling around with this spear pierced through him and everything. But animals develop defensive mechanisms. Animals develop weapons. Animals, like humans, develop sexual weapons and to get essential resources and do that. And this is instinctively inside the male. And I wanted to talk about alternate male strategies today. Male-on-male competition is not limited to direct confrontation within a population of males. To get access to females and evading aggression and dominant males may employ various alternate techniques. We see this in the PUAs, the various alternate techniques into contact with females. We see the incels do the oofy doofy. We see the wounded bird. We see them do the chubby hubby. All these things. They got names for all these things. And what they're doing is they're doing alternate mating strategies. And that's what the guys do around here when they start tournamenting. They start doing the thing that they do for the females, and they forget most of them. They either want a female, they have a female. And with Charles, he has a female. It's really kind of weird when you look at it. The alternate, and then we look at the PUAs, and they got this alternate mating strategy that comes in where they're going to trick the females. One of the things with the alternate mating strategies and in the modern world and in the millennial times, there's males employ various alternate techniques to come in contact with the female, because such as superficially resembling a female. So the effeminization of the female, or employing sneaky behavior. That's what Charles is doing right now. He's employing sneaky behavior. But some of them superficially, they want to resemble the female, and I think that's what the PUAs do. And what do we call those? The manginas, or the guys, they put their hair buns up, and they shave their faces smooth and their bodies smooth to resemble the female. They never let their secondary sexual characteristics. You can notice with Charles, he shaves his head, he shaves his he would never let a secondary sexual characteristic such as a beard or fur be known, because that's in itself the ultimate mating weapon, because it is. It's these things are secondary sexual characteristics, the beard and everything, and we're given these things for reasons, so we can tell the difference between females and males. But one of the employees that are one of the things that they employ is resembling the female, and sneaky behavior. There's been a lot of studies on this sort of things, alternate mated strategies, with isopods and dung beetles and Pacific salmon. They whoo up the stream. They got to go up there, and they jump over the walls, and then they, the ones that make it up the stream in the competition of the stream, they get the mate, and when they get to their chosen area. But I wanted to talk about this in the sense of what I did today, what I seen today, with me and my Mgtow's at a certain point now. We don't potentially do the mating strategies. We don't fall for these things. I'm not going to fall for the drama. I'm not going to get into a big drama fight over this, and because that's giving the blue pill male the purple pill-ish sort of guy. I don't think a lot of them are purple pill. I think they hate Mgtow. And that was a question that I was asked just recent. Do you think they hate Mgtows? And I says, yes, they do hate us. I said the men hate us because we don't do the competition, the male mating competition, the male on mating, and that's the only place in the world they feel comfortable. And they never stop doing it. The Red Queen never stops running, and the male competition never stops trying to kill the other male or dispose of the other male. And we see this in Mgtow with the drama, and we see this with a lot of guys that come around, and they're, with the one guy, he wanted to talk about my penis. We're gonna do that show and tell thing, and and I got so mad at him. I was enraged at him. But male competition is real, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen to each and every one of you. These guys are going to come around. As a Mgtow, you're not going to understand it, because you don't do them things anymore. That's what I did. I presented an alternate strategy to just not do it. I just said no. I walked away. No in itself is the action that I took. The Mgtow action is no. The word no. I'm not going to do these arguments with him. I'm not going to do it with you. I don't have it in me, and I just don't want to do it. I've made it all I want to mate in this life. I'm sick of that thing, and I'm sick of the whole male thing, and I'm not going to do it. But these guys still do it from 20 to 60. It's inbred down deep inside of them, and they can't get rid of it. And part of Mgtow is looking down into your soul. And that's why we say do these introspections, because we look down into our soul, and we look for these things that we do instinctively. People say, oh, it's instinctive, you can't get rid of it. No, if it's instinctive, it's just it's a momentary thing from the lizard brain telling you to do that, but you still has to go through the parietal lobe and the other lobes and these little things over here that stop thought in a male for a second and lets us examine things before it goes through the frontal lobes. We can stop these things. We can. I do think males can put these things on hold. They can refuse to mate, like Mgtows do. We refuse to mate with substandard females, and if it was all about being instinctual things from the lizard brain and in the penile, I think it's called, down at the bottom of the top of the brain stem. We would just automatically do it, and then what did I do? It'd be like some demon would take us over. It'd be a split mind then, and we don't have split minds. We have minds that work together, and it's one thing is the other, and it works with our bodies very, very nicely through neuronal activity and stuff like that. So, I think, therefore I am. The thing with Descartes, he explained all this stuff. I think, therefore I am, and it's, my body is my mind, and my mind is a piece of my body, and they work together, and it's not separate, and there's no other soul. That's what he was saying. So hence, what about God? He was saying, I take all these things off the table, and I think about these things, and I am. This is what I am, and I am. And what should I do? I should be. And just be, and forget about all that foolishness. But with this male competition thing, it's it's almost mechanical in most men. They do it. They stick their chest out. They bump on each other. They want to wrestle. They want to fight. They want to compete. MGTOWs don't do that. I rarely see it with any MGTOWs, and we're over it. Once you don't find your validation in that thing that you do, it becomes very boring. And it becomes, you step back, you sit on the Mgtow bench, and you watch him, and you go, what a bunch of barbarians. What a bunch of barbarians they are. And they all do it. I know at a certain point that males, I know at a certain point, the aggressive male, the bad boy, and everything, they get a disproportionate access to the female, because the female can't help herself on that. I was just watching the Ted Bundy thing. It's how even Ted Bundy in prison had women coming to us that wanted to mate with him because he was that thing that scared them. Barbarossa talks about it. I can't remember the word right off the end. That's the sexual selection in this kind of scenario is strong, and in that kind of population that they have, in the mating niches that they have and everything they put out there, I know these things happen, and I know it's a very overwhelming drive to do that. We look at the animals and everything. Like I said, you could look at a beetle that's developed a horn to fight another beetle. There's sperm competition too. We talked about sperm competition, which is mate guarding, and there's sperm competition between men. And man refuses to leave his home or go out hunting now because he feels that another male, until he impregnates that and gets that baby, it's sperm content. Now, sperm content competition and male competition of in that sense is it's equivalent. It's postularly equivalent to mate choice, and in turn cryptic female choice. And the cryptic female, and then we go into the cryptic sexual behavior, and then how females hide their when they're in heat, when they're fertile, they hide their fertility and everything. Well, men do the same thing. If this be true and these two things be the same human, females and males, then this be true too. And I know a lot of men will just be turned off by that. There's like things that are true for men are true for females. They're just named and they're just done a little different, but when you think about them, they are the same things. Cryptic female choice occurs when a female can disseminate their reproductive tract among the sperm. Her reproductive tract among the sperm of different males have at least 21 possible mechanisms, and there's some discrimination in the mechanism, and the sperm competition is for the female, creates a powerful selection. That's pressure through pressure and stress through life history and characteristics and growth processes and stuff like that. So they are the same thing, but it causes us humans to have really strange behavior outside of what I would call the normal behavior. There's normal behavior of when men shut these things off. It's like when I say, when you're working on your car, you shouldn't be thinking about sex. You'll never get your car fixed or done. When you're going shopping, you shouldn't be thinking about when we're at work, when we're shopping, we're at work, we're fixing our car. We're always doing something where them things should not come into your into your psyche, and if it does come into your psyche, and you get automatically incensed by the presence of another male, did I tell you what? Then I start thinking at that point that there's some malady in you. There's a malformation in the brain activities. You're overage. There's an overman in there, and we talked about the overman, and the overman's turned on right now, and the overman wants to fight, and that's the problem with the overman. He makes himself a slave because the overman will fight with the other overman, and that's what we see. Nietzsche was trying to describe it, but he didn't have the technology to see exactly inside the brain. We can measure these things. We know about these things. We did lots of studies. We're smarter now about these things. But cryptic female choice is the same as the alternate mating strategies. The females want cryptic choice or cryptic sexual choice because she wants all the other men to think that that's his baby, and all of them will be subconsciously thinking that's my baby, and the other one will think that's my baby, and the other one, and then she gets just a plethora of resources by every man, and it's natural inside of us men to do that. And I say, if you see a child walking towards the street and you're walking on the opposite side and walking the other way, you don't turn away and go, that little sucker is going to get crushed. You don't do that as a man. If something turns on, something you can't even hardly control sometimes, and you run over, you go, whoa, 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 go back into your yard, little one. And then once that's over, once it's out of danger, you can continue walking, but most men can't continue walking until they fix that situation. It's the white knight in us too. We talk about the white knight a lot. Why do we do these things as the white knight? It's ingrained inside of us because of cryptic choice. We do these things because we want to be selected. So there is a lot of different alternate mating strategies. Some men even go as far as to try to present themselves as the same as women because they know that a portion of women are genderly confused. They don't know which way to go, and we won't talk about the special ones. And they're generally confused, so that increases the proportion of people they can get in society. And there's a lot of different things like that, and we see it in all sorts of different ways. And in PUA, they dress like women sometimes. The skinny jeans and the in the jean jacket vests and cardigans, it's like so I think it's silly. But I started asking myself questions about this today when Charles was trying to make me compete with him, and I'm not going to compete with you. I mean, I'm a 50-some-year-old man, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore with men. And I'm gonna have to go back on this video and see if that actually showed up on the screen. What I put up on the screen, I don't know if it did. I don't think it did, and I was kind of worried. I had made a little skinny jeans look so very silly on me. Yes, they do, Taryn. We see the young boys with the skinny jeans and the cardigans and the Aeropostale shirts and they got to have them because that's what's in and everything. And that's just doing what's natural for young men, a mating strategy to attract the women, and they're peacocking is what they're doing. And that's strategy. There's a lot of different kinds of strategies. And, I stopped peacocking a long time ago. I don't do those things. And the sad part about that is when I stopped peacocking, I was just like a working guy. So I started wearing Carhartt jacket and the boots and the thick jeans with the pullovers and the places to put my tool with the little thing on there and the side and everything, and that became my kind of garb, and a old Ford F-150 that I can throw things in the back, and a turned around baseball hat with and that I thought, well, I'm not doing that thing. But in that, I found out that that's attractive. That's an alternate mating scheme in itself that I had fell into, because that's everything about me said working man provider, working man provider, working man provider. And that became a problem after that. And I had to figure this thing out, how to get out of that. And that's, hence the kufi now. The kufi is a stop sign. It's a stop sign. When people see the kufi, it says, don't sexually interact with Joe. Even women respond to it. Most of them just, they'll keep their distance from me. The kufi is an effective demating strategy. And that's when I started wearing it. And it just worked. It's maybe just a t-shirt and a kufi, and don't talk and do those things. And but sometimes we fall into these things and we don't know it. And that was my point. And I don't think Charles knows that he's just enacting male competition when he does that. And I know what he wants. In YouTube with that purple pill gang over there, they want to have the drama, and the drama is the drama is the competition, the drama of human competition. They used to say it on a sports program with Howard, the drama of human competition. And then there was a doom, doom. I think it was also Spoke Zarusta that they played in back of that, which was a great choice. But there was the Brazilian, it was the Arandano, also spoke Zarustra in there, and it was that kind of jazzy one. And but if I'm wrong, let me know about that. I know that was on one of those sports programs, but and it goes dun dun dun, and it's got that climax to it. The tension builds. If you were wondering what that song was, that's also Spokes Rustra. But yeah, it's got that tension and the climax. And I know the men feel that way when they're doing the male competition. They want that climax. They want the feeling of masculinity in sports and baseball and football. When when you're a linebacker and you line the guy up just right, you take the angle and you smash him. There's no other feeling than the baseball when you're eyeing down the pitcher, or you are the pitcher. And that's the great thing about baseball. I love baseball because there's both sides are you're always in that thing. You're second baseman. It's like nothing's getting by me. I mean, I'm the cat. I am the lion. I got the eye of the tiger. Those things. Boxing, the eye of the tiger. We do that. Boxing is the purest sport I know of with men. I used to love boxing, watching Mike Tyson, and then I cried the day that he lost to that cat from Cincinnati. When I was a young man, we paid like, oh my God, it was like $160 to see the pay-per-view event. Remember how the pay-per-view events were back then? And it's like they were so expensive. So we paid for it, and then it was like over, and I was a little tear. My hero, just a little tear just came down my eye. I was so taken by the whole event. But that's the drama. That's the drama that men need. Whether it's hunting, I go hunting now, and I go fishing, and that's my drama. I walk down into the valley down there, and walk down those rocks and through those woods and scary things, sometimes with my lantern in the night, and get to the river, and I go fishing. And a lot of times I'll go down there, and after I get there, I'm so worn out. I'm like, it's just like sit down and I take a nap up against the tree. Don't put no bait on your hook, but we all do that as men, and we all need those things. And I know it's a need. We need competition. We need to feel that we're better than other men. Intellectual competition. We see that with chess, and we see a lot of intellectual competition around the manosphere here, and everybody needs to be the smartest and the best, and that kind of competition. And I think it's funny, and I try not to involve myself in that, because it finds me too. And if you just ask SFM, you'll say, why do they always try to find you, Joe? And without even acknowledging the guy's name, I've never said anything horrible or bad about Charles. I kind of like the guy. He's interesting, at least. He's got his theory on Candy Cane Lane. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever heard. The fat girls, Candy Cane Lane, he says. And that's his alternate mating strategy, was Candy Cane Lane. And maybe his wife is a chubby. Maybe I think he's a chubby chaser. And that's okay. I know a few chubby chasers in my life, and they're generally nice guys. But if that's and that is an alternate mating strategy, you say to yourself, maybe I don't like those skinny pale girls, or the brown girls, or the skinny brown girls, or the skinny whitey pale girls. I want that badunkadunk butt, what they used to call it. Some of the guys like that. That's cool, man. Whatever you like, I once told this story about this horrible moment behind a dumpster I seen. My buddy was behind the dumpster with this big girl, and I was throwing a beer bottle at it, and I was banging beer bottles on it, coming out of the bar drunk, and then he was like, "Hey!" And I was like, "Oh, what you got back there?" And I was like, "Oh, hit it, buddy." Hit it, buddy, but that's you, a big girl. There was a lot of ass there. Junk in the trunk. Yeah, some guys like that. And it's an alternate mating strategy they picked, and they dissected what they want. Most men do this. Somebody once told me, I argue sometimes, and that when I talk about sexual strategies and stuff like that, alternate mating strategies are like cryptic sexual choices for men. Females have female cryptic choice and sexual cryptis, which are two different things. And I wanted to explain that one day, about cryptic sexual choice and sexual cryptis being two different things, and confusables with those guys. Males have, on the other end, alternate mating strategies, and then they got one of the strategies is like the Mgtow strategy. We don't do that, which makes us more. What women can't have is what they desire most. Men employ that in that same situation. Men employ that to what you can't have. I'm celibate, and I've done this in the past, and after my marriage, I was every girl I talked to, I said, "Oh, I'm celibate," which immediately turned on that, "Oh, I got to have him." But then I was 6'7", and or not 6'7". I was 270 pounds of solid muscle, and things worked out well for me for a long time. But we all do those things, and sometimes we don't know it, and that's the point. And that's my point. And it gets old, and I don't want to be the guy that people measure up against anymore. If Charles wants to measure up against me, my God, I'm such a horrible choice for that. I don't do them things. I'm not gonna do the fight. It may be the sissy fight now. I'll just go like, I'm swatted. Just go away. Go away. I don't want to be bothered anymore. I just sissy slap him. Bam. Linebacker Joe. Yeah, I was a linebacker, and when I played football, until I joined the Army, I suppose. And we played touch football in the Army, but that was a different sort of sport. It was very athletic, and we had teams, and we played other bases, and we all tried. It was very, unless you've ever been in there, you get on a team, you play off in your bases, and then you play the other base, and it's male competition. It's like, man, you got to win. We got to win for the pride of Fort Lee. Oh yeah. So there are, but what I wanted to talk about most of all is the Mgtow strategy of just walking away and having an easy, stress-free life, and we don't do those things, which makes us targets, because like everything, it's presumed that this is our mating strategy and that this is an alternate mating strategy. And then MGTOWs must be winning, I suppose. And that's the way they perceive it. And the purple pillars perceive it that way. There's always slight tensions with them. And those tensions, whether it be an intellectual tension. I don't know what set Charles off so bad about I didn't mention his name, but married people's IQs generally. I did a hyperbole in that, and married people's IQs and drop about 20 points when they start mating because of the estrogen and the bacteria and the chemicals within your. If you do drugs, your IQ drops. Now Charles had a bunch of beer cans and laying around his yard and it was he had finished like eight, 9 beers before, while probably milling around thinking about me and what I had said in that 16 seconds, and that so infuriated him, which is craziness. Which I'm a guy 1,000 miles away, living in Ohio in a little town that no one would ever even roll through. You would never even roll through this ever in your life. Why worry about me? I'm just a Mgtow over in this small town, and I'm not no competition to nobody, and nor do I want to be any competition to anybody. But it's going to happen in here, and I think we have to prepare ourselves as MGTOWs and MGTOW producers to understand what's happening, and it's a better part of understanding yourself. Oh, yeah, tension with the purple pillars. Yeah, be moving. Yeah, we're a moving target. It's that question: do they hate us? And I think they do hate us, and I think we hate women, and then. No, we don't. But I think the question there is we don't hate women. Women hate us for being MGTOWs. That's why we get this attention to us. And we gotta ask ourselves what's that? I mean, what evolutionary design was it that if you walk away as a male, they will chase you, they will chastise you, they will call you names, and they will get angry if you walk away as a male. Is there something in the evolutionary plan that Darwin talked about? And I don't think so, but I think there's more questions to be asked about this thing. We can do models like the rat models of growth in society, and I know a lot of the guys that explains it for them. The beautiful ones were up on the tops of the things, and they refused to go down at the bottom mating and compete for women that were just going to eat their babies and abort them. And I mean, wow, does that sound a lot like society today? We have the abortion issue came up this week. Now, imagine yourself as the alien observer, and the alien observer is like, oh, these MGTOWs, they're over there. And they're just doing their thing. He's just working on his garage and trying to build a laser gun. Joe's over there. He's a MGTOW. He's just in his garage and he's trying to build a laser gun. Nothing wrong with that. Us aliens do that all the time. But then you look at the females, and the females are killing their babies, and there's this start, and you got to wonder from an alien point of view. What you're seeing, they're aborting their babies, they're killing their babies, they're eating their babies, and this society has hit its max population is what it's starting to tell us. I don't know what population at what population it's going to die. But society's hit as mass population. That's because of the Haber-Bosch project, the ammonium nitrate, artificial ammonium nitrogens. Did you know your body is 40% artificial nitrogens? Pretty scary, huh? People worry about biosynthetic corn and stuff like that from Monsanto, but I mean, you think about what you are as a human being, and you're 40% synthetic nitrogens in your body, and that's a pretty sad statement for the human race. Uh, Maybe this tournamenting thing, is useful then because the population would never grow. The pruning of the herd never permitted the population to grow to such a maximum level. And that, I think, out of all the things in the world, that's what makes, when you're a Mgtow, that's the thing that it irritates you. It's the anxiety of the population, and I know most of you guys probably feel it. That's why some of us are a proportion of why we're MGTOWs is bringing kids into this world where there's soon to be 8 billion people, and a single season of crop failure would cause such death. The earth would just benefit because all of our bodies would decay into the earth, and then all the oil that we take out, it will be replaced with our bodies. It will no longer be dino oil, it will be human oil. 8 billion people. That's a lot of people, and those people are going to die in 40 years, and 8 billion more, and then 8 billion more, and 8 billion more. I was doing the dead baby experiment, mathematics of dead babies. I know because of the internet. I now know how many dead babies it would take to fill up Lake Erie with a garden hose, and how much time. A half-inch garden hose that pumps 6 babies a minute. I did the math. Thanks, internet. I wanted to know that. But the things that you start doing on the internet when you're on, I was doing it as a criticism to abortion, or the pro-life people, because they kind of fling it out that way, don't they? They're like, oh, well, I just got to get me an abortion today. That's great, And I was thinking about the rat experiment, the Mgtow mouse experiment, and thinking that's horrifying. That's horrifying. And don't you know what you're saying? And it was, well, I could say something equally horrifying, like how many babies would it take to fill up Lake Erie, if you liquefied them? How much can a garden hose pump? At a half-inch garden hose, you can pump 6 babies a minute. That's what I figured. That's 6.1 gallons a minute at a half-inch at 40 psi. I know. It's like, yeah, well, do men act like that? Most of no. We have a little decorum sometimes. We don't talk about these things, and then we in our not talking about these things, we give the female of the, like, I mean, she says the most awful things sometimes about abortion, and they want to kill babies and everything, and it's like, wow, this is barbaric. But please don't don't objectify them, which is so much less. I mean, he's looking at me. I mean, well, you guys are killing your babies, and you want to use them for makeup. And when you say that, oh God, you can't say that. There's some cause in what I do with them things. So I've been going in, and it's all evolutionarily. It's all evolutionary biology and stuff now, and we got to start thinking about the population size of the world and whether Mgtow is right on these things. But abortion bothers me, and I think it should bother you. I think the whole thing, from start to beginning, the hypocrisy of not knowing where babies come from, the responsibility of being a mate to someone and saying, hey, we got some kids, and now if we're going to decide to do this, we're going to have these kids, and the male simply says, well, I want to know it's my baby. And then she goes, well, I want to know that, yeah, and I want you to have, and then those things get violated, gender dynamics. They're saying, oh, it's none of your business whether it's your baby. I said, no, that doesn't work that way. That's called a cuck, and we don't like those things. I'm not a cuck. I think there was one unforgivable thing with Jerry Farwell lately. I was looking through the whole story and I wasn't incensed, and then I wasn't incensed, and I was like, well, yeah, they lie, they steal, they cheat. That's how they got their money. They started a religion. They got other people to donate. He's basically hypocritical because he's a homosexual. But hey, if you're going to do the alt-right thing, you got to hate homosexuals. And I said, so that's his game, and I understand that. But the only thing that was unforgivable was the cuck thing. It was like, oh, you let another man touch your wife. Oh, ugh. It's like the only thing. I think the only thing that is unforgivable for Mgtows is cucks. We've seen that with the not George Bush, the other Bush down there, and the cuckservative. He started the whole word cuckservative came from him. The Republican Party was horrified about what he was saying about his wife and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God. It's like the only thing that is unforgivable in Mgtow is being a cuck. It's like if we had 10 commandments, that would be the first one. Thou shalt not cuck. Thou shalt not be a cuck. Yeah. So hello everybody. That's Mike. Hello Mike. Mike Jettyfire. I love that name. It's so creative. Mike Jettyfire has ESP. And then there's Mike, and then there's Mgtow Thread, and hello Tara, and then Dude S, and I think Mgtow Warrior. I seen Mgtow Warrior up there and somewhere, and there's 17 other people in there and everything. And hello Joey, and I think the other Joey is in here too, and today we're talking about alternate mating strategies and what that means to the male. And it would be determined that Mgtow was an alternate mating strategy, and we're using the strategy of purity. I was like, no, I just stay away from me, and that makes them crazy. But that's what we get from the. I was told that once, and I was like, it's not really what we're doing here. We just really, really want to be left alone. And they're going, no, I can see they're doing a, hey, wink, wink, nod, nod. I know what you guys are doing. You guys are doing an alternate mating strategy. Just you guys are just like saying, hey, I don't like you girls, and then the girls will go, you have to like us and chase us. And it's like, see, that worked. It's like the oofy doofy for Mgtows. No, we're not doing that, but that's the way they think, and that's a projection on their part too. And we talk about projection a lot in here. It's like when they give themselves away, and some of the things that they come to us. I think Stardust was talking earlier today. He put out a video, and he's putting out very good videos. Like I've been enjoying listening to Stardust. I always enjoyed listening to Stardust. I don't think he likes me much, but hey. That's okay. I don't have to be liked by everybody, and I don't like anybody. I don't like too many other people in my life. And you can choose your own friends when you're in Mgtow, and that's one of the important things in Mgtow. You can choose your own friends now. You don't have to be friends. You don't have to have a wingman. You don't have to have You don't have to have these guys around you that you don't want to have around you. And you choose your group, and you choose your likes and your interests and your dislikes, and you choose interactions with females, and you become your master. And so that's all part of being Mgtow, and I can appreciate that out of the guys. Sometimes that causes tension in Mgtow and everything. It's not, it shouldn't be that way. Even if somebody doesn't like you, that's okay. And Charles obviously doesn't like me. I mean, I understand why he doesn't like me, because he wants to, come on, Joe. I think I could take him too. I really do. I even at my age, I think these big arms would just like mow him over. But that's neither here nor there. We all fantasize about those events. Sometimes I just want to get in a fight some days. Especially when I was young. I did get in a lot of fights when I was young, and I feel it now. My knees feel it, and my shoulders feel it, and everything. But but it's a natural part of growing up and everything. And that's the mating, that's male competition, which we were talking about earlier today. It is a natural part. You got to learn how to turn that off. How do you turn it off? But how do you turn it off? Whew, that's a tough question. And those are the questions we should be asking ourselves. I hear the question once in a while, at least twice, 3, 4, 5 times a year. Someone will come up and it's like, how do I turn that off, Joe? How do I turn that desire for women off? How do I turn that mating competition off? How do I turn all that? Because like most, you've all been through it. If you're here in Mgtow, you've been through it. You're sitting there one day and you go, man, this shit I don't want to do it no more. And for whatever reason that was Stardust video today. A matter of fact, the reasons we don't want to do it no more is, and the question was who hurt you? It's like, but that in itself is just is them chasing us. They're still chasing us. And I just don't want to do that no more. I don't want to be that perverse male that's thinking about that all the time. And I want to get something done in my life, and I want to be able to turn that off. But that's a thing, and the thing that you have to do would be turn it off. Boy, it's not like it has a switch either, does it? It's like it'd be cool if it was a push button switch, like a Ford and the old Fords. You got push buttons. You go low, medium, high. But humans don't have those. What model of car was that had the push button? I had one, and when you push the button, the radio would go. I don't know why it would screw with the radio. Everybody that ever had one said, you know what was the weirdest thing? I'd push it, and then the radio would go nuts. It was something about the radios at that time, and I never figured out as an electrician what exactly it was that made the dial just go. Oh, I don't know. I think it was one of the Thunderbirds had that in there too. Oh, so auto mechanics with Joe. Extreme sexual dimorphism was useful to caveman, not anymore. Yeah, and evolutionary trends in neoteny and androgyny. Yeah, androgyny is a big one now. That's another straight mating strategy. And well, androgyny for the male is probably is the reverse. Like I said, if it's true for males, it's true for females. This is true because we're both humans. And we can't separate like that. Neoteny is an androgyny. When you see the men do the skinny jeans and the clean faces, that's their version of neoteny. Neoteny being for women. If you didn't know what neoteny means, it means to present yourself as young for the rest of your life, as a teenager. The girls use makeup, high heel shoes, but high heel shoes are actually different. That's lordosis behavior. They want the butt to stick out and project because she wants to present the curvature of the butt in lordosis position to the male, and that's dominance. Somebody asked why do women lose agency during sex? Well, you think about lordosis, you think what she's doing. She's giving away her agency. She's presenting her back end as in a position of subservience. So that answers a lot of questions in Mgtow. It's the position of subservience that they want to be. So hence they will blame you for the pregnancy. It wasn't her choice to spread her legs. That's what she says, because she was going through some evolutionary sexual things, and then she projected her lordosis position, and the male went, "Woo, I'll take that." And but she protected subservience, and when she got into the bed, she was subservient to your wishes, and hence you had a baby, and both of you forgot where babies come from. And that's the thing that drives me nuts about abortion and stuff, because you guys just, no one ever told you that, huh? Well, let me sit you on down. Sit on Uncle Joe's lap, and I'll tell you kids where babies come from. It's like, son of a bee. Varnagate does a great picture in the book. It was just Breakfast of Champions, where he draws it and he goes, "This is where babies come from," real bluntly. So he does some Keynesian. He does a little Keynesian evolutionary traits of the male, and he describes the uses of the penis and the size, and and then where babies come from in a very direct way. I think he did. It was more Keynesian sciences right there. And if you haven't read Keynesian sciences, a Kinsey, you should. It's one of those evolutionary books that you should read. As a social psychologist, yes, you should. Oh man, there's a lot in Mgtow, isn't it? Wherever we look, we have a different perspective on the world, and sometimes that perspective rubs against. It rubs against the rest of the world because we're not doing quite what they want us to do. And in that statement there, it's like, why is it that I have to do what you want me to do? And then we take a look at the slave mentality of most people, the crabs in the bucket. You just want me to do what you're doing because it makes you feel better about life. Like there's nothing else, and what I'm doing is the best possible choice. And then they see us MGTOWs, and you guys aren't doing what we're doing. You have to do it, or else I'm going to, like Charles was. He's like, you're not doing, Joe, what I'm doing, and I'm smarter than you. No, you're not. Really, he's not. And I know he wants to intellectually fence with me, but I'm not going to let that happen because I would just end up yelling at him. Are you a pure Darwinist? No, I don't believe in pure Darwinism. I think even Darwin got some stuff wrong. Basically, there's a lot of things wrong with Darwinism. I believe in artificial selection too, and it's like, woo. It's like, no, I'm not pure Darwin. I believe in neurodarwinism because I'm a product of neurodarwinism. Everything was lost at one time in my life, and what time would be, even Darwin said, no, we can't regrow brains. Brains won't grow, and kidneys won't grow, and there's some things just won't grow in the body. I believe no, there's nothing in your body that you can't fix or grow, or evolutionarily they can progress. Like, we lost our tails. Tails are probably pretty good for balancing. I wish I did have a tail again, because I could shoot it back down and just kind of lean back and just kind of stand there leaning back, just shut my eyes and go to sleep. And people at work, you'd be like, is he sleeping? Get your tail. They'd have to come up with a new saying, get your tail off the floor, boy. Tails are probably cool. But we lost those. We didn't need them no more, Why do women have it? Why do women have a brain? Yeah, they don't use them. Some of them are pretty smart, I suppose, as smart as they can be. But it's the intelligence curve and everything. And I think that's what pissed Charles off. The intelligence curve is so in the middle for most people. Men generally congregate at the other higher end. I don't know what kind of what IQ test most people use. It's the one 130, 132 to 145, and down to 87, or that one. And then I forget the names of them, and I really don't want to go look them up and everything. Then there's the Army one, the empirical Army test that goes to 210. That's the Mensa test too. There's the educational system uses the one, the Army uses another, Mensa uses another. Hello, Father No. But I seen that video on Charles made, and it's been out a month already, and I'm surprised no one told me about it. My friend Joey told me about it yesterday. He said, "Didn't you see that?" I said, "No, I didn't see it." Somebody made a video about me, and usually I catch that thing, but I let it go like almost a whole month without even seeing it, and nobody told me. I was like, none of my loyal fans. One of my millions and millions of loyal followers didn't tell me. Oh, yeah, my channel's a joke. My channel's a joke. It's just because I refuse to put any hard work into it. Really, it's just talking and trying to get this thing together back here. I have to get that room done in the next room so I could open the doors and do the projector right. Because I need like 6 more feet on the projector to get it to the 102 inches. But I'll figure it out. I just have to stop being so damn lazy. I was supposed to move the dresser out of here, and I have this big dresser that I've been cuddling and holding on to it because it was my mother's dresser, and I didn't want to get rid of it because I had emotional bonds to it. Now I see that those things. I finally got rid of the room Stuck in Time with all the children's stuff in it. I got rid of I gave away the brand new bunk beds that I bought them. And they were brand new. I even bleached them down and did the power wash on them before I gave everything away. And I took it apart, and I got a box full of toys I'm going to throw out one by one. And I started doing that, getting rid of that old life, because that was so. I had the room Stuck in Time that I would go back in time warp back in when days when I was a traditionalite, and but that's gone, and that will be my office again. So what were we talking about today? We're talking about alternative alternative mating strategies that we see around, and there's a lot of them, and men employ all sorts of them, and women employ all sorts of them too, and you have to be aware, because being a Mgtow, you're not doing those things, and if you're not doing those things, sometimes they'll come into you. When you disregard those things, sometimes they come to you and you misinterpret the meaning of them, and you're like, you're trying to be competition to me. I missed that. I'm sorry, I'm a Mgtow. I missed that. You gotta come on, bring it on stronger or something. Let's go. Because I don't do those things anymore. That's why you got to make a shirt. If you're going to compete with me, please let me know beforehand. It'll be inside the Mgtow box. Please inform me or send a letter. Please email me before you try to compete with me, so I know you're competing with me. James Charles has 15 million subscribers. He's living proof that a new mating strategy. Who is James Charles? I'm not familiar. I'll look it up after and see. Is he a skinny boy? Is the skinny jeans and the college frat boy man? The college frat boy thing. I don't know if the college frat boy thing is popular anymore. It was popular, for a while. That, woo, I'm so excited of life. So I'll have to go take a look at him. It's probably skinny jeans and an open shirt, and I'm so much better than everybody else. I try not to ever click on the trending button. Do you guys ever click mistakenly on the trending button on YouTube? And then you just kind of look down and you're like, this isn't this isn't no me. Oh, it's like and it's like sort of immature and it's childish, and you got super women and super girl, and she does unicorn dances, and you got every single kind of like Irish people eating American food. Woo, that's interesting. It's like, I watched those for a little bit. It's like, wow, Irish people drink American whiskey. for the first time. And that's supposed to be what intellectually stimulates us nowadays. Some of the things I see is like, wow, I can't wait to watch John Oliver every week. He only has one show on a week, and I think that's just a crime, because that's about the only interesting thing I see on YouTube every week. Lots of YouTube sororities have personalities of an Easter egg. Yeah. Shiny on the outside and hollow on the inside. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what Susan, she wanted, and she wanted a more family friendly, happy YouTube. After, basically what created YouTube is people were free to say anything that came to their mind, pretty much, and sometimes that was interesting subjects, and then there was like, no, you guys can't say that. It's like the discourse, and it's like a strange blend of discourse and gab and and YouTube all mixed up back then, and we were allowed to actually, because it's American and we're allowed to voice our opinion on things. But I don't know if we're American anymore. It doesn't seem like it, because we're not allowed to voice our opinions on much, and even I have to taper back my language and what I say, and omit certain words, and try not to be as overtly offensive as I used to be. I have to be more family friendly. And how do you do Mgtow family friendly? That's the big question. How would you do Mgtow that's family friendly? Because it isn't very family friendly. It's like, we're the extinction of the world. We're going to get this population down to about 1,000 if we can. We're like the Jehovah Witnesses of the real life, not the metaphysical life. We're going to get this down to 200,000 so we can all comfortably live on this planet. The dumb masses, yeah. It's junk to the dumb down in the masses, yeah. But in Mgtow, there's so much to learn in Mgtow, and when it so much applies to it, when you start reading and you go, oh, that sounds a lot like me. Everything, all roads come back to Mgtow, and Angry was right about that. All roads do, carrot farming in Massachusetts. How to work carrot farming in Massachusetts out to Mgtow. That does have a Mgtow premise. Matter of fact, I read the article on carrot farming. They're trying to get females to do farming, so they were. Carrot farming is what they grew up there, and it was carrot farming in Massachusetts, and females were going to take over the farms, and all they did was employ men to do the work for them, so they became the managers of the farms, not actual farm workers. And I thought that was just so funny when they did that. It was like, oh, so just being manager of something, like being in charge, that's that'll work. Farm laws are very much different too. If you ever just read farm laws just for fun? It's like they explain everything perfectly. If your pig wanders off into another yard and impregnates another pig, you have to pay support for that pig and the babies. If you can work out a deal if they want the pigs or not, or if your pig's infected, or if your pigs are too close to the genetics of the other pigs. And they do that with horses. If your horse runs off and gets my horse pregnant, your dog, and all that stuff. And wow, they got a set of laws that is just really unique if you ever just really read them some days. And it's just funny sometimes. And there was a story of turtles. Somebody had turtles and they got loose, and they created damage on the leafy vegetation on the next farm. But yeah, that's all fun stuff to look at and everything. It probably would make a really interesting video, farm laws. And yeah, farm laws. But with farm laws are different for divorce too, because the female has no right to the farm, because if the farm shuts down, then people don't eat, and so they could see it in these rural areas, and they can see why divorce and the divorce laws are horrible for business of men, and financially it ruins them. You don't want a bunch of financially ruined farmers, which we're doing now with our government and our tariffs. hey, blue pill cuck America is financially ruining the farmers because they think it's fun. It's like, oh yeah, when people starve to death, that'll be just really fun. Better learn how to collect grains. I never did that video. I was supposed to do that video on the art of grain management and how to collect grains for yourself if you want to. I collected a shitload of grains last year, and I still have like a whole bucket full up above my. I got all these grains in there that I was using for breads and stuff to make. I was throwing some into breads, and then I was using them for soups too, barley soups and that stuff. And I was like, I still got a shitload of them things. It's like, yeah, wow, I don't need as much grain as I thought I did. And it was pretty much a 1 day collect too. It was like I found a good field and I went out and collected, and it was fall and harvest was happening. Yeah, I never thought what turtles are good for. We used to hunt turtles when we were younger, and my friend used to make turtle soup. And it's not actually turtle soup; it's turtle pork soup. And we used to eat the turtles, but it makes it taste really interesting. It's got an interesting, dirty, gritty flavor to it, and but snapping turtles is what we used to, and they're dangerous too because the ones we have up here, some of them get rather large with big. They can. One day I was fishing, and there was a snapping turtle down there, and I accidentally put my fish down on the stringer. I put my fish down, and then like I caught a fish, and like 10 minutes later or something, and there must have been a whole flock of turtles. What did you call it? Did you call it a flock of turtles, or a gaggle of turtles, or they're just turtling? I don't know what it is, but there was a lot of them down there, and there was little chunks out of all the fish. You could see they had just bitten right through it. And most of them were gone, and they ripped them off. And I was like, oh man, my breakfast, you guys ate it. So I was thinking, someday I'll eat one of you guys, and that'll be payback. It was crappie, black crappie. I was catching black crappie on Pamatuming Lake. Was it Pamatuming? No, it wasn't Pamatuming. It was or was it Pamatuming? Where was I at? Yeah, it was Pamatuming Lake. It was by the rocks, and yeah, the turtles attacked my stringer and ate my fish. Oh, I know where it was. There was a little pier that went out by the Ohio State camping area I was at, and nice lake if you'd ever been there for, especially for crappie in the spring, black crappie and bass and walleyes and stuff like that. If you're into that sort of stuff, Pamatuming Lake's a blast, but it's got a 9-horse motor limit on it, and I would rather not that because I live off of a lake area. We can do anything we want. Mosquito Lake's nice. I used to go fishing a lot at Mosquito Lake. And we'd have a reservoir. It was a Ladue Reservoir and Mosquito Lake. I like that. And that's the same area out there. And because I used to live out there before I moved back here, I used to live in Kent. So the Kent area. And Ladue, Mosquito, and Lake Ladue was always fun. And that's a reservoir now. And we used to go fishing there when we were kids. We used to shoot frogs with BB guns and go frogging when we were kids. And frogging's nice, and until you have to actually do the process of getting their little legs off and they start screaming. Does anybody know what a frog scream sounds like? Well, you'll find that out if you don't kill them beforehand. We had a whole bucket of them, and we brought them in, and as soon as they hit the light, they all started screaming. And my brother jumped up out of bed, and we came in late because we wanted to eat them, and we were drunk, and that's nothing better than frog legs when you're drunk. And they all started doing them. My brother was like, what the hell is that? What the hell are you guys doing out there? It's got to be illegal. But frogs do scream at a harsh. They sound like babies actually when they do. Oh, when the gar is hitting men. Hearing one right now. A baby screaming. Oh yeah, that's interesting. We had a great little lake we used to, and it's overrun now by population has overrun that lake. It was back in the woods some way, so only the kids knew about it, and we were the kids at that time. And before overpopulation in Northeast Ohio became a real thing, white flight and Whiskey had sent me something about Cleveland. Cleveland is the model of white flight from the city. And at one time, Cleveland was the fifth biggest city in the United States. Now it's like the 26th biggest city, and it's been going down. That's because everybody from Mentor to Lorain down to Mansfield is so densely populated that there's really nowhere to go anymore. You can go east and west. That's why I moved out west here, so I can go enjoy some. So I can enjoy some woods that's left. But the Cleveland, the white flight city, But I grew up in the far suburbs of Cleveland, and it was nice back when you were young. We used to imagine this. We used to carry BB guns around when we were kids. We used to walk down into the woods and go hunting, and the cops used to stop and ask us what we got that day. It's like, Joe, what'd you get? And I was like, I got a bunny and I got a squirrel, and we're gonna go cut them up and we're gonna eat them. And at some point during my life, that just ended, where kids can go hunting and shoot things with BB guns. Now they're terrorists. So how has our society developed in a positive sense there for boys' masculinity? Most boys don't even, most millennials won't cut up a fish no more. They won't, they don't know how to get a fur off of a rabbit. That would be horrifying to them, having to skin a rabbit or a squirrel or good thing Whiskey's not in here. If I tell some squirrel stories, it's like, ooh. Yeah. That's why we spent a lot of time down in the woods when we were kids. Masculinity was developed naturally through hunting and fishing skills, and we didn't go home and whine to mom to make us sandwiches. We just took our poles with us, stuck them in our backpacks with our BB guns, and we knew how to forage for potatoes and sweet potatoes and them things, and leaves and leafy greens, and we usually took a little pack of soup with us in case we got doing something else and we just needed to quickly make like some soup or something. But we think about lost masculinity a lot when we talk about we talk about Mgtow. Where is the lost masculinity? And it has a lot to do with Mgtow. Always comes full circle round. Overpopulation in our country has diminished capacity to raise little hunters and gatherers. What effect would that have on the male psyche? I think we should have camps. Boy Scouts was a good idea, so you can take boys out in the woods, show them how to skin a fish and use a knife, and do the masculine things and the masculine arts. But now Boy Scouts is gone. They had even destroyed that. The effemination of the Boy Scouts. I guess there is a Boy Scouts now. It's just under the rule of feminism now. We're not going to be doing tenting. We're going to be making teepees, and I don't know what's going to change. Instead of fire starting, we're going to be basket weaving and showing how to make put flowers on our hats and everything, and that'll be great for boys' masculinity because it'll curb the vicious, violent males from doing vicious, violent things like hunting. Most of the food is proper preparation. My cooking versus professional chef. The chef is definitely going to. Oh yeah, chefs are great. Hey, nothing like a good dinner. Going out for a good dinner once in a while, made by a decent chef, is a wonderful thing. They just do it right. Combine all those flavors. I made a chicken parmesan earlier. I was going to make noodles, but I'm cutting back on all my carbs. My friend finally guilted me into cutting my carbs down, and he's gonna have a skinnier, more pleasant Joe soon. I don't know if a skinnier, more pleasant Joe will be. I kind of like chubby Joe with enough weight to throw around. It used to be a thing when I was a kid. You had to have enough weight to throw around. I was a Cleveland boy. After the Army, I moved to Cleveland, grew up 30 years in Cleveland, and you living in that kind of environment, you have to have some weight to throw around. I always thought I was too small. That's like, man, I'm going to get my ass beat. You don't know how bad that is, getting your ass beat. Women don't understand that, you know what it's like getting your ass beat? You got to have some weight to throw around. Yeah, I think human instinction is what people are looking for too, Aaron. That's an interesting question because we see the climate deniers now, and the climate deniers are pretty ingenious in the way they think about that. It's like they're going to destroy the climate with dino oils and ruin our air, and that we can't go to renewable energies such as sun and wind, and because as soon as we destroy all that stuff, then it'll be Jesus, and Jesus is going to come, and we're going to force the Jesus revolution onto us. And I don't think it works that way. I think if there is a sentient God or a sentient creature that's above us, that's waiting to come down, I don't think us destroying the world is going to force him to come down. He's going to sit there and laugh at us and go, isn't it miserable living on that planet now? Look what you guys did. So, not that I believe in that stuff about forcing climate change. One thing for sure it will depopulate the world. That'll be fun. I don't think that'll be but they'll make up another book, and then it'll be like this all happened, this flood happened back in the Moses time, which we can link back to the last time the carbon levels went up to a peak level. And then probably from volcanoes at that time, volcanoes going off and filling the atmosphere full of carbon. And then we had a flood, and that's when all the ice caps finally melt. And how deep will the water get? I don't know. It's like I could tell you how many babies can be pumped in a 1,029 year period through a 6-inch hose or a 100-foot hose, 6 babies a minute at the flow of 40 psi. If you liquefy the babies to fill up Lake Erie, but I can't tell you when the ice caps are going to melt. I could tell you the thermodynamics of how many feminists it would take to heat a house if you burnt the feminists. Yes, human body sciences. Jesus never existed. Fact. I don't know if there might have been. It's possible there was a guy that was extremely altruistic, and they for the time he was extremely altruistic, and they made up fables about him, and that's where the fables. There may have been a person. I don't know if we can actually. You would think there would be some kind of record of that. Other than I could call the Vatican and ask him if there was some kind of official document of his existence. But I'm not really sure that, it's possible that there was a person that was extremely altruistic. That's usually how these things happen. And we made up fables about it. We made him into the Superman. We made him into the Ubermunch, the Uberman, the Overman. And we made a myth out of it. And then we went too far, like humans often do. Personally, I think we should keep our myths to things like Beowulf, which we know is not real, and but gives us instruction on how dangerous things are, and catch and release is satisfying. Catch and release is satisfying. I don't know which kind of catch and release you're talking about, whether that to be the the female type of catch and release or the hunting or fishing type of catch and release. But Oh yeah, lots of interesting things. Soothing though. Where is Sooth in here? Sooth, Soothsayer. Soothsayer. I wanted to give him credit for his name. That was the third chapter of The Spooks of Rostra was Soothsayer. Soothsayer was his friend. Fishing, catching, catching fish. Yeah, we used to go catch and release down at the Niagara during the fall season. You can keep the salmons because the salmon are coming up from the Huron, but which is cool to have a salmon. But they're not. They don't really. So you got to really watch which ones you eat and which ones you can't eat. Because the color change in them and that, and the meat starts. They start dying. But during that time, you're not allowed to take any rainbows. You're not allowed to take any of the other fish, the brown trout or the steelhead. You're not allowed to take the steelhead, so you have to catch and release on those. But the steelhead are in the river, and there are a lot of them, and the brown trouts are in the river. So we used to like go in there. And nothing like catching a brown trout about this big. They get about that big in the Niagara, which is just a violently flowing river, and it take you good 20 minutes to reel it in, and that's big fun. I like that. We used to go down to a place called Lewiston, New York. There's an interesting thing in Lewiston, New York. It's outside of Niagara Falls, New York. You go down about 10 miles down east down the Niagara River, maybe not even that much, maybe 2 miles, and you come into Lewiston, and they have Art Park. It's where people you walk through Art Park, and there's things built and art built and stuff like that. So we always cut through the art park, and the curator would, oh, it's you two guys again. It's like, okay. And it's like we'd cut through, and we're not bothering anybody, and we just want to cut through here. But the parking lot is built on the one side up against the river, and there's a great restaurant that used to be up there. It sits over the river, and it was a seafood restaurant. So we just like go that. I don't think it's there anymore. I'd have to check that. And there was a great river restaurant, and there was a couple of really neat bars because the town wasn't very big, and they had dances and stuff at night, and they acted really kind of 50-ish. And it was like, karaoke, the old ladies singing karaoke and stuff. And me and my brother used to get drunk and laugh and do the tourist thing, watch the natives. And it's interesting. And we just like go fishing, and catch and release was always the thing. Catching is better than fishing. Yeah. I caught turtles by accident. Yeah, turtles are fun. Turtles are good. If you're gonna eat a turtle, man, you gotta soak it in. You gotta do the bathtub soak, or get a bathtub for it, and or a water container, a big Tupperware. We used to use these big Tupperware containers, and then you fresh water, and then you pour a little a tad bit of bleach in there, and 1% or something, not even 1%. It was just to sterilize them, and then you'd let them in there, and you let them live and feed them for a month or so before you what you do is it's kind of cruel. You wait for a hot day, and then you turn the thing upside down, and it gets real hot inside of there, and then they slowly die, and then the meat's terrific after that. You saw a Luther black turtle. I don't know what a Luther. I'll look that up. A Luther black turtle, probably neat. We used to just do snapping turtles, and they're dangerous. If you got your hand close to their mouth, they would take a chunk of your skin, or take a finger, and so that's dangerous. You don't want to stick. We figured out that they live underneath the bank. The bank comes down, and the river cuts into it, and there's little tunnels underneath there. And instead of fishing for them, we'd get like in our wetsuits and get our gloves on, and we'd be feeling around under there, and then just grab one and drag them out. That was easier. It's a lot like it's a lot like noodling, I suppose. Yeah, you don't want one grabbing hold of your noodles because you could lose one, but you got to grab them and drag them out real quick. And they should do a show about that. It's like grabbing. It's like grabbing an alligator and and trying to drag him out. You better have some damn fine gloves. Snapping turtles can be aggressive. Yeah, they can be aggressive for sure. So that were my hunting stories when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, I was so fucking fearless. I would do anything. It's like, man, I was fearless. I was young and fearless. I can appreciate the boys when they come around and they're full of piss and vinegar, because I know how I was. I was young. I was fearless. Nothing could kill me. I was taut like a tiger. A solid rock and taunt like a tiger, that John would say, John Kramer. Well, I don't miss John Kramer being around. It's like, but we put ourselves in risky situations like that. I've never had the opportunity to actually jump on an alligator's back and try to wrestle him in so I can eat him. But I think if I was down in the bayou, that would be the first thing that would come to mind. I would be like, man, I am so going to jump on that alligator's back and get my hammer. I forgot where I put my hammer. It's around here somewhere. I'd be like, just to see if I could do it. Watch out for the clown-faced leech snappers. They sound terrifying. So I think I've talked long enough today. I don't know how long I've been talking. I was gonna just chastise. I was just gonna chastise Charles for a couple hours about making a video about me without my knowledge, and trying to get me into a confrontation with male competition so he can show his wife that he's the alpha. I'll tell him, hey, if he's listening, it's like, man, just go tell your wife that you kicked my ass. You intellectually beat me down. Ooh, it was such a whipping he gave me. And I'll give you that. I'll be your wingman, buddy. But I'm not going to do the competition. And I was thinking about that today. Why don't Mgtows do that? We shouldn't do that. We're not those kind of men. We don't validate ourselves through women anymore. And there's no reason for it. But the young bucks, they still want to do it. And even some of the old bucks like Charles, I told him he should clean up his yard there because he's going to fall and break his hip. He had kids' toys all over it. It's like, man, you're going to fall and break your hip, old guy. Which was probably me being a little salty about it, but I wish he wouldn't have done that, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the competition thing with him. He could just go tell his wife that he beat my ass. He's so smart. He is. Oh, Traversable Joe could guest star on Magog stream. That would be fun. Who is Magog? It's a men on. You're gonna have to explain that one to me. So that's what I was gonna do, but I got over my anger today. Is the dog still alive? Yeah, Dougie's still alive, and he's doing a lot better. I paid the $1,200 to get him better, and I'm gonna live under the assumption that feminism tried to kill Dougie. I'll do with that conspiracy theory because two other people lost their dogs at the same time Dougie went down. I think there was a virus that came around and through the United States. It's a fungal virus that attacked them all. But we'll blame it on feminism and say feminism's been killing Mgtow dogs, and you owe me $1,200, feminism. I'll go with that conspiracy theory because that's better for us. But Dougie's doing okay now. He's blind and he's deaf, and it's so sad. He just sits there and there's nothing in the eyes anymore. There's the little white circles where the pupils used to be, and he just kind of stares and wonders what's going on. And once in a while, I just have to go kind of talk to him. He can hear a little bit, but the infection got in his ears and his eyes and stuff, and really destroyed his brain. And all he really wants is a hug, and he wants me to hold him and let him know that there's some warmth on this planet, uh, and I'll give it to him. I'll give Dougie that. And so I hold him and hug him and whisper in his ear and tell him everything's going to be okay, and I'm going to keep feeding him and let him know that I'm around. And until the day he really dies. I don't know when that day is. The doctor says when he stops recognizing me would probably be the day I should put him down, and that'll be a hard day. I don't know when that day is going to come. I'm not that kind of prognosticator, but I know it'll be soon. And I'm gonna miss my little buddy. I think it was oh my God, who was it? He lost his dog Joey. He lost Joey. That was God, I can't remember his name now. The old guy in a motorcycle down in Florida. What's his name? He used to come on the show a lot. But he lost his dog at the same time, and I empathize with it. I know how hard it is to when you lose your little buddy. And one of the I don't know if it was Ken or somebody else lost his dog. So we'll just say it was a conspiracy by feminists to kill our dogs off to make us force us back into their arms. How low will they go? Your wife just arrived. Gotta go. Oh yeah, sure. 30. Sure. Yeah, dogs are pretty awesome fans. There. I would have rather had a hunting dog, but Doug don't hunt. He just looks pretty. He's a PUA dog. Dougie's a PUA. He had alternate mating strategies, and his alternate mating strategy is neoteny and extreme beauty. Yeah. So that's about it, and that's all I can go on today. I'm gonna go get something to drink, and my mouth is getting dry from talking, and I'm gonna let you guys go. And like always, thanks for coming around. Thanks for listening. Share if you can. That's the only way I get shared out there is if you guys share me. Share Trav today. Share a little Trav. There's a lot of Trav to go around, and hit that like button. And thanks a lot for coming around and doing your part. And most of all, man, thanks a lot for being Mgtow. You Mgtows.